Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. I'm Christina. I'm glad you're here. Let's get right into the video. I found a gem online from a Monat lady who is bringing back, I would say, MLM classics. And that is Hun Science. Something apparently was triggering to her because she is really mad. And she jumped on her social media and saved that video to her Instagram, where she wants to educate us about the difference between hair loss and hair shedding. I can only assume that people are in her DMs or are telling her that Monat products cause hair loss and damages to people's heads. And that is something that Monat reps don't deal with very professionally. So I guess that is what's happening here. I haven't watched the full thing. I recorded it a while ago and I just checked the first couple of minutes. So it's gonna be a surprise. If you like these types of videos, please consider subscribing, giving this video a like, leaving me a comment. That does help my channel out a lot. Let's take a look at Hun Science. I can't wait.
Hello everybody. Okay. I want to do a brief demonstration about the difference between hair loss and hair shedding and what might cause hair shedding when you first start using a naturally based product, okay? So we go throughout our life using really crappy silicone, wax-filled, harsh salts, PEGs, DEAs, products, right? Wax and silicones. So what happens when you put wax and silicone all over your hair over and over and over and again, right? It starts to get coated on your hair. It starts to get clogging your follicles in your scalp. What happens when you use dry shampoo that literally gets stuck in your scalp and suffocates the hair follicle? It dies. Okay, you have hair shedding. So I want to give you a brief demonstration and what it looks like to gently remove the wax and silicone buildup when you are using a naturally based product. So,
before she starts the presentation, the setup is already very awkward to me. Also, if this is not in sync, it is not because of me editing this weirdly. This is how it was on her Instagram live. I have a feeling she's already setting the stage. You probably use crappy hair products and they're filled with parabens and silicons, and then you start to use a natural hair product like Monat, and this is what happens. Why do you assume that people used crappy hair products and then they started to use a natural based product? I have a feeling that she is assuming a lot about the people who are watching her. Doesn't make any sense for me, lady, unless you know the history of every single one of your potential customers and you know what kind of products they used. But let's watch.
this is your hair. Okay, this is your hair strand, right?
This is Play-Doh.
This is the wax and silicone buildup. I'm doing this on the fly, by the way. I just got really fed up with people saying that naturally based products cause hair loss. No, your wax and silicone products that you've been using caused your hair loss or your hair shedding because you just suffocated the life out of your hair follicle. So anyways, this is my scalp. This is my hair strand. This is my hair strand. This is the wax and silicone that has been built up in my scalp. Okay? What happens when a naturally based product comes in? Okay, we've got our, this is our hair strand, this is our wax and silicone products, filled products, Pantene, Revlon, all those, okay? What happens when you come in and you get a naturally based product that gently moves the wax and silicones because it doesn't have any in there? Okay, I take away my wax and silicone buildup. Guess what? I've now suffocated my hair follicle out. You shed it, okay?
I love how she is able to sit on an Instagram live and unironically be like, wow, this is not Play-Doh, and this is not a straw, this is your hair follicle, and this is the buildup. This reminds me very much of the late 90s home shopping demonstrations, where people had demonstrations that made no sense at all. There was no connection to biology, skincare, chemistry, whatever they tried to sell you, but it had to look visually very good. And people were making very blanket statements. I remember where a lady who wanted to show skincare products came to Germany, and she spoke to the predominantly German-speaking audience that were selling to Germany, Switzerland, and Austria. And she was talking for I don't know how many hours a day, because it was the offer of the day. And she was talking about the beautiful German skin and the German skin, and this is how you have to take care of the German skin. And I did like to watch that back then for entertainment purposes. And I just thought, this is so stupid. Do you know that you speak to people in a country with over 80 million people? Not everybody has the same skin. There is no such thing as the German skin. When you have a population of 80 million people, you have all different types of skin types. And this reminds me of this. It has to be visually interesting. Like, wow. But it doesn't have to have any connection whatsoever to real life. Let's keep watching. Maybe she is not just shedding some hair, but also some light.
It isn't the naturally based shampoo and conditioner that you're using that is causing your hair shedding. It is the products that you've been previously using. I don't know why this is hard to understand for people. It's one thing that frustrates me the most, that people want to blame. Oh, and there's your suffocation. It was stuck in there. There's your suffocation of the hair follicle that's now dormant. Okay? Dry shampoos do the same exact thing. Okay? When you are using a dry shampoo that is chemical filled, that is propane, butane, same thing. When you notice that you are using a naturally based product and you start to shed hair, notice where your hair shedding is. Are you using a crappy, toxic filled dry shampoo? Your hair shedding is probably going to be all around here where you use your dry shampoo. Now, there is a difference between hair shedding and hair loss. What is that? Hair shedding is a hair that is shed out. Okay, first of all, there's 3 phases of hair growth. Telogen, antigen, and anagen, telogen, and let me see. I wasn't going to go in depth about the science and stuff, but I have it written down. Telogen, anagen, and...
Just a general note. If you are on a live and you want to present yourself as a professional in some way, shape, or form, I'm sure she wants to present herself as a hair care specialist. If you don't have the information available, if you do not know the information, because Monat reps are not necessarily hair care professionals, then don't go on a live. Make a curated video, upload that to your social media, and do your research. And if you are live, make notes and have those notes available. If you want to present yourself as a professional, be professional. But let's take a look at the hair stages of hair growth and loss that she's talking about. There are 4 phases of hair loss, and I will link all of the material and all of my resources down below if you want to take a look yourself. The anagen phase, the catagen phase, the telogen phase, and the exogen phase. The anagen phase is the growing phase. The stages of hair growth begin with the anagen phase. It's the longest phase, lasting about 3 to 5 years for the hairs on your head, though for some people, a single hair could continue growing for 7 or more years. Fortunately, the anagen phase differs with different types of hair. For example, the anagen phase for eyebrow hairs and pubic hair is much shorter than the phase for your scalp hairs. During the anagen phase, your hair follicles are pushing out hairs that will continue to grow until they're cut or until they reach the end of their lifespan and fall out. At any time, about 90% of the hairs on your head are in the anagen phase. The second one is the catagen phase, the transition phase. The catagen phase starts when the anagen phase ends and tends to last about 10 days or so. During this chapter, hair follicles shrink and hair growth slows. The hair also separates from the bottom of the hair follicle, yet remains in place during its final days of growing. Only about 5% of the hairs on your head are in the catagen phase at any given time. Telogen resting phase. The telogen phase typically lasts around 3 months. An estimated 10 to 15% of your scalp hairs are in this phase. Hairs don't grow during the telogen phase, but they don't usually fall out either. The telogen phase is also when new hairs start to form in follicles that have just released hairs during the catagen phase. Some health experts consider the telogen phase the shedding phase as well, But many scientists have divided this stage into two parts, the telogen and the exogen stages. And then the final phase is the exogen, the falling out stage, or the shedding phase. The exogen phase is essentially an extension or a part of the telogen stage of hair growth. During the exogen phase, hair is shedding from the scalp, often helped along by washing and brushing. Losing 50 to 100 hairs per day during the exogen phase is normal. During the exogen phase, which can last about 2 to 5 months, new hairs are growing in the follicles as the old hair falls away. So that's the science behind that. And before we continue with the video, it is mind-baffling to me that people can be on their social media as hair experts talking to their customers or potential customers like this. You are just being rude and you're just being unprofessional. And I have seen this specific rep rant about stuff, about Monat, people telling her that they don't want to support her in some way, shape, or form consistently. That is not you educating other people. That is just you being rude. If I were a potential customer of hers, I would be out. If you treat your potential customers like this, no wonder they're leaving. I would be out of the door. It's very, very unprofessional. But let's continue.
I can't remember. Okay, there's 3 phases. Either way, in your life, there's 3 phases of hair growth. There's a shedding phase, there's a growth phase, and there's a stagnant stage, okay? So at any point in your life, it is actually very healthy that you are shedding hair. You, as a healthy human being, should be shedding anywhere from 50 to 150 hairs a day with brushing, movement, whatever. If you don't wash your hair for 5 days, or you don't brush your hair for 5 days, you could shed out 500 hairs in one day. 500 hairs in one day, okay? Now, what is the difference between hair shedding and hair loss? Hair shedding is followed by new growth. Catagen, thank you. It's a catagen phase. I couldn't remember that one. It is shedded out. Okay, so when you use a naturally based product and your hair sheds some, it's because it's being released of all the wax and silicone buildup that you've already caused there. Now, hair shedding is always followed by hair growth. Hair loss are things that are caused by androgenetic alopecia, male pattern baldness, things of that nature that actually kill off your hair follicles that will never return, okay? That is hair loss. Hair shedding can be caused by COVID. It can be caused by stress, medications, okay? I had alopecia. I was diagnosed with alopecia due to extreme stress. It could be you've had a fever. It could be that you went... let's say, lost weight, that you started working out. It could be a change in hormones. There are so many different reasons for hair shedding, okay? You may notice more hair shedding than other times. You may notice that when you start to use a naturally based product, you start to shed some hair because it's being released, the wax and silicone buildup and all that, but it will always be replaced by new hair. So when someone starts to use a new naturally based product and they start saying, oh, I'm having hair loss. No. You're having hair shedding. And that's actually very healthy. That means that the products that you are now using are saying what they do, or doing what they say they do. And you will see with consistency that you're going to have your hair regrow, okay? And also, there might also be other things that you may notice when you start using a naturally based product, for example, you may notice dry and frizziness, because what you've done when you've put wax and silicones all over your hair is that you've actually starved out the natural oils of your strand. So you may notice that your hair is extremely dry, okay? So when you start to use those products and your hair starts to get really dry, also the products are doing what they say they're going to do, because they will restore the natural oil of your scalp. They'll balance the pH of your scalp, and they'll balance the pH they'll balance the oil in your hair strand. You may notice that you have a little bit of breakage. Guess what? When you have wax and silicone covered hair and you use crappy black hair ties right here, and now that you don't have that wax and silicone buildup that's holding your imagine if this was cut in half. Okay, here's your hair fault. Here's your hair strand. This is your hair with wax and silicone buildup. Here's the person using Pantene. Okay, they have their hair strand being held together on that one part of their hair where they use that crappy black hair tie over and over and over again, or they brush through their hair too hard, or they don't use good scrunchies. Now that you've started using naturally based product, and now that you've removed the wax and silicone, guess what? The hair might have some breakage because you've just exposed what the hair looks like underneath the wax and silicone buildup. Crazy, isn't it? Isn't that amazing? Stop blaming naturally based products for causing hair loss or hair shedding, okay?
Okay, I'm actually going to do exactly that. The tone, the way she speaks to people on her social media, I've said it before, I will say it again, is mind-baffling to me. Just a tip from a professional perspective, no matter what business you are in, don't blame your customers and don't have that tone to your customers if you want to sell them something. These are the people you depend on. In this case, or in her case, people who will join her downline more than customers. But you know what I'm getting at. Do not talk to people like this. If you are heated because somebody told you something stupid, which can happen when you work in a customer or consumer-based business anyways, you don't have to be in an MLM to experience that, then do not jump on your social media and do stuff like this, where you unironically plaster your hair with Play-Doh and with sippy straws and try to pretend that you are an expert on hair growth and hair loss, yet you don't even have all of the information ready, but you make that up while blaming your customers and while having a tone that would make me want to run away out the back door. She presents herself in such an entitled way that I'm not surprised that Monat is bleeding reps and customers. This is just unprofessional. Where is she going with this? Natural hair does not cause hair loss. You have natural hair shedding, and because you, dum-dum, used silicone, paraben, and crappy products before, she's mentioning Pantene here, for example, or Revlon, and now you're purchasing natural products, I assume she's referring to Monat, that doesn't cause hair loss. That causes hair shedding, and you are responsible for this because you put crappy stuff onto your scalp, and now the natural products are cleaning that up, and you have natural hair shedding. I'm surprised she didn't say that your hair is detoxing. Monat reps are legally not allowed to say that anymore, but we're going that route. I went onto Monat's website and I typed in the kind of shampoo that I would use for my hair. I have dry hair, I have curly hair, I have frizzy hair, and the shampoo that was recommended was Monat Super Nourish Oil Cream Shampoo. Of course, infused with a Rejuvenique oil. The retail price is $45 US. That's a steal. Or the VIP customer price if you sign up for the program and you commit to 3 shipments over $80 each, I believe. You only have to spend $38. So yeah, we're talking about pricey products. This is supposed to be, according to Monat's website, the shampoo for me. Ultra hydrating and moisturizing cream formula, provides softness, smoothness, and shine. A low lather oil infused shampoo, cleanses without stripping or drying, great for daily use. And I don't know about you, please feel free to comment below if you're a curly girl as well. Curly girls, in my experience, do not wash their hair every single day because it's a hassle, okay? I wash my hair once a week, that is fine. I have dry hair and I don't use a lot of product, so I don't have a lot of buildup anyways. But that aside, Monat is listing the key ingredients and then also the ingredients listing. All of that information is available on Monat's website. Let's talk about hair loss first, before I go through the ingredients of that nourishing shampoo for my hair type. There are actually products that can cause hair loss. There are ingredients in product that you could use on your head that might cause hair loss, whether they're natural or not. The reasons for hair loss can be genetics, not only in men, but also in women. It can be you taking certain medication. It can be hormonal topics. There's a variation of that. I will also link sources down below if you want to take a look at that. So she's right about that. But legitimate sources out there don't say that natural products cannot cause hair loss. There are actually a good amount of ingredients that can cause hair loss. not shedding, hair loss. The reason why I believe she's so angry about this is because Monat has been sued by former customers and former reps. And there are still lawsuits and class action lawsuits out there against Monat that are still ongoing. Monat has settled most of their lawsuits and they have not won a single one. So there is factual information out there that people say Monat products have caused hair loss. They have shown pictures of them having bald spots on their head. And they show pictures of them having scalp sores where their scalp is bleeding and where they have actual scars. And they claim that comes from Monat products. But Monat reps don't react well to that and very, very unprofessional, as we have seen. That is the reason why I believe she's on her social media, because people probably will tell her, I don't want to support this, I don't like MLMs. Oh, and I heard that Monat products make your hair fall out. That is what I believe the background is to the super unprofessional life. The page bellanatural.com lists 20 ingredients in shampoo that can cause hair loss. When it comes to hair loss, obviously you want to avoid it as much as you can, and yet many common ingredients in shampoos and conditioners can lead to hair loss, hair fragility, or scalp irritation. Here are 20 such ingredients. The website doesn't say that these ingredients will automatically lead to you having hair loss, but they can be a reason that you might lose hair. Going through the list, you can take a look at that yourself, like sodium lauryl sulfate. I'm not even able to pronounce half of these things, but I will try. Just for funsies. Sodium chloride, polyethylene glycol, quaternum 15. The list goes on and on. Different types of parabens like methylparaben, propylparaben. I don't know if you pronounce it like this in English, but you for sure do in German. Other things I'm not even going to pronounce. And then I ended up at number 12, alcohol. Alcohols in general are typically bad for your body, inside and out. Even the ones we drink are poisonous. Some alcohols, the short-chain drying alcohols, are the alcohols that dry out your hair and skin. If you have dry hair and dry skin, you know that. You should stay away from products that carry alcohol because they will dehydrate your hair and your skin. I do recognize that specifically in the winter time because I also have really dry skin and I need to use a more replenishing oil-based body lotion because otherwise my skin is going to be flaky. That's the degree of dryness that I'm working with. And even my humor is dry. They irritate the skin and eyes, they dry out the scalp and hair, and they leave your hair brittle. They are most often found under names like SD alcohol, denatured alcohol, propanol, and something else alcohol. And on the other hand, some alcohols are beneficial and not harmful, such as cetyl alcohol, stearyl alcohol, and behenyl alcohol. So just because a product carries alcohol doesn't mean it has to be damaging, but if you have dry hair and dry skin, maybe stay away from that. Let's remember alcohol. Then we have items like lanolin, petroleum, mineral oil, coca, midorprobs, number 16. This chemical is a relatively low hazard foaming agent that makes your shampoo foam up nicely in water, and it helps reduce static buildup in hair. It has cleansing and viscosity increasing effects as well. Artificial colors and artificial fragrances are mentioned. Synthetic fragrances or perfumes are meant to make your shampoo more pleasant to use, and in large part, the smell of a shampoo is one of the only defining traits it has. And let's take a look at the picture below this item. It is the Monat Revive shampoo, and this website, Bella All Natural, actually took the time out of their day to underline the ingredients they deemed as not so harmful, the yellow ones that are in this shampoo that you might want to be mindful about, and then the red ones. The ones that they mentioned are potentially responsible for hair loss. So Monat, being an all-natural hair care company, has those ingredients that might cause hair loss. I'm surprised. I'm not. I'm just a bad actress. You can pause for yourself and take a look. So just because Monat is a natural hair care brand doesn't mean that they don't have ingredients in there that could potentially cause hair loss, not hair shedding. But there's more to see. Number 20 is vitamin A. Vitamin A is typically seen as healthy for the hair, so why is it on this list? Like many nutrients, vitamin A is beneficial up to a point and detrimental in overdose levels. Vitamin A is essential for growing and restoring healthy hair, but when consumed in too high levels, it starts to have the opposite effect. One shampoo with vitamin A is fine, but if you're also taking a supplement using a vitamin A infused lotion and using it in a conditioner, it may be too much. So what I gather from this is that even natural ingredients might cause harm in certain concentrations, working together with other ingredients. Maybe you taking certain supplements or other products that might counteract that. She didn't speak about this, although she's the hair care professional. But me showing you this list is just the starting point, because let's take a look at the shampoo I randomly just picked for my hair type. Let's see how natural and how not harmful the ingredients are here. Look at that. This shampoo from Monat that is supposed to be perfect for my hair has alcohol in it, benzyl alcohol. And look at that. It also has the unspeakable ingredients. Cocamidopropylbutane. The one that's supposed to be in your product to make it foam nicely, yeah, that's also in there. Wow, I thought this was an all-natural product, but this couldn't damage me. And look at that, fragrances and perfumes that are just designed for your shampoo to smell nicely. And when I take a look above the ingredients list, it lists the oil blend that this product has. And among them is sweet almond oil. And do you know what sweet almond oil is rich in? In vitamin A. And what could be potentially harmful? Too high doses of vitamin A. I'm not stating that this shampoo will cause me hair loss or it will cause you hair loss. I'm just trying to show you that those blatant statements that are just generalized are stupid. If you are a hair professional and you're shilling hair products, you would never sit on your social media and yell at your audience that they're responsible for damaging their hair, and now that you're using this perfect, non-damaging, all-natural hair care line, and you might recognize that things are not working out for you, maybe you don't have the results you want, maybe you do realize that you have more hair loss than you had before or hair shedding, and you address this to the person, to the rep that sold you the products, and that is the response you get, then do not take that person seriously, stop using the products and leave for various reasons. Number one, if you believe a product might be damaging your hair and your scalp or your overall health, it is your decision to stop using that, throw it into the trash, cut the loss, and walk away. And if you have somebody yelling at you like this online because you bring up concerns and you're being treated like this, same thing, leave. Just because something is natural doesn't mean that it's good for you. Just because something is natural doesn't mean that it cannot harm you. And it just shows, in my opinion, how unprofessional of a sales force Monat reps can be. And this video is good proof for me. Not a good look for her, but good proof for us. And this is what I would call an appeal to nature. An appeal to nature is an argument or rhetorical tactic in which it is proposed that a thing is good because it is natural or bad because it is unnatural. It is generally considered to be a bad argument because the implicit, unstated primary premise, what is natural is good, is typically irrelevant, having no cogent meaning in practice, or is an opinion instead of a fact. For example, it might be argued that polio is good because it is natural. Yeah, that's true. Or you licking frogs that are poisonous. They're also natural and organic. Or you eating certain mushrooms. That doesn't mean that that is good because it's natural. And that is the appeal to nature that a lot of Monat ladies like to push on their customers, but that is false. Please don't fall for this. In addition to that, if you suffer from hair loss or if you are worried and you're using Monat products specifically, I also will link an article from the Mayo Clinic down below where they're speaking about prevention. Now, I would argue that the Mayo Clinic is a very reputable source of information, and they focus very much on the medical side and on the biological side of hair loss, and that's why I found that part very interesting. They're talking about prevention. Most baldness is caused by genetics, male pattern baldness and female pattern baldness. This type of hair loss is not preventable. These tips may help you to avoid preventable types of hair loss. So the ones that are not genetic, that are not caused from medications or from life circumstances that you cannot avoid. Be gentle with your hair, use a detangler, and avoid tugging when brushing and combing, especially when your hair is wet. A white-toothed comb might help prevent pulling out hair. Avoid harsh treatments such as hot rollers, curling irons, hot oil treatments, and permanents. Limit the tension on your hair from styles that use rubber bands, barrettes, and braids. Do you realize what they're not saying? How you can prevent hair loss? By using natural products. But let's continue. There's still a couple of minutes left.
Or for hair loss. It's not good, okay? You are literally you're plasticizing your hair. Especially, another example, when you use a wax and silicone filled hair oil and then you put heat on it, congratulations, you just laminated your own hair. That's not good. It matters what we put on our scalp. It matters what we put on our hair. I have been using the same hair products for 4 years. I didn't use any shine products. I didn't use any hair oils. This is what my natural hair looks like. This is completely air dried. If I could show you my before photo, you would never believe it. Start choosing quality products that aren't traumatizing your hair, okay? That aren't covering it in chemicals that are actually damaging to your body, not just for the wax and silicones and suffocating your hair follicles, but for the actual physiology of your hormones, okay? You are doing more damage than you think to your hormones and everything around you. You're using cancer-causing ingredients, and I really, really, really urge you to look into your ingredients and also understand the difference between hair shedding and hair loss, what can cause it. You know, maybe you had COVID and you started also, when you have a symptom that could cause hair shedding, it can be anywhere from 3 to 6 months after the fact. So if you had COVID back in January and you started having hair shedding in July, it was from COVID, not from your shampoo that you're using, okay? But I have done hours and hours and hours and hours of research on this topic so that I know what I'm talking about, okay? I have more notes somewhere else in my other notebook. I care what you put on your hair. I care about helping my customers. I care that you know that you're educated and that you stop blaming your hair loss or hair shedding on something that is not causing that. What really needs to happen is that you need to get down to the root cause of your health issues and really figure out why this might be happening, because I guarantee you it is not your shampoo. So with that being said, I'm going to read you the hair growth cycle just so everybody is aware.
We already went through the hair growth cycle, so I'm going to skip that part. Your shampoo doesn't cause hair loss, but I want you to be educated and I care about your hair. Yet I'm here on live, yelling at you, blaming you as my customer. Everything is responsible for your hair loss, but not Monat products, because you had COVID, because of your diet. Maybe it's because of your genetics, but it's not the products. What are you, a medium? Oh, okay. I see. Oh, yeah, okay. No, I see. Yeah. Oh, look at that. You had alcohol back then. Well, that's not good. Oh, okay. So you had COVID. Yeah, it's not Monat products. It's you. Please allow yourself the grace to not be treated by a salesperson like this. If a salesperson talks to you like this and is consistently blaming their customers for their hair not being in the state that they want it to be, and for shedding and losing more hair than they would typically observe, then that person needs to go. That is not a person I would purchase from. That person would get a bad review from me. And if that person would blame me as their customer, I would also be at Monat's customer service telling them what kind of misinformation their reps are spewing on social media. This is unprofessional. This is embarrassing. This is lame. You have made notes over notes over notes, yet you should have maybe made notes about how to treat your customers. Unprofessional, rude, victim blaming, and not prepared. Not a person I would purchase from. But that is just my personal opinion. You can say that your hair looks great because I've used Monat products for the past 4 years, Why have you used those products? Oh yeah, because you're exclusively shilling this brand's products. Now, if it worked for me, it cannot not work for you. It has to be you. Victim blaming is a common tactic in commercial cults. Please do not let somebody treat you like this. It is okay to cut these types of people out and to go and get whatever shampoo you want, whether it is natural or not.
And so that we can just clear this up, okay? Hair growth cycle. Hair shedding is a natural part of the cycle. You lose hair so that it can be replaced. Everybody should go through this. If you're not shedding hair, that is not healthy, okay? If thinning or loss without regrowth appears, then it is loss. The hair growth cycle is ongoing. 90% of the hair is in the resting phase, while the 10% is either growing or shedding. Balding occurs when hair sheds and no hair regrowths to replace it. Hair is made up of keratin, same material that makes up the outer nails of the hair, layers of the skin and the nails. Hair is actually dead. Follicular bulb is growing. Is growing center. Because the strand of hair is not alive. Hot curlers, chemical processing, hard combs cause damage, fracture the shaft, and cause split ends. Hair growth cycles start with the anagen phase or the growth phase. During this phase, cells in the root of the hair divide to add to the hair shaft. Growth phase can last from 2 to 6 years, and when it comes to an end, hair grows to the next phase. The catagen phase. It's a 2 to 3 week transitional period where hair is no longer growing. During this phase, the club of the hair occurs when the follicle attaches to the hair shaft, cutting the follicle off from the blood supply, and the cells produce new hair. The club hair leads to the hair growth and the shedding. The final stage of growth is the shedding intelligent phase. It lasts anywhere from 2 to 4 months. 2 to 4 months. It begins to shed at normal levels, and anagen phase begins to produce new hair again. Average person sheds around 100 telogen hairs a day by brushing, showering, and other activities. High stress, fevers, nutritional deficiencies, pneumonia, accidents, COVID can cause higher than normal hair shedding. Patterned baldness or androgenetic alopecia occurs when the hair production shows and produces weak, shorter hairs, eventually ceasing to grow in areas. Had I not healed my gut and healed my body when I had alopecia, that hair would have never grown back. It is an internal issue. Dieting is on very low protein may cause fragile hair that is lifeless. Problems with thyroid, aging, and overtreatment by chemicals and heat lead to dull appearance. Normal growth for hair on the scalp is approximately 1 centimeter per month, and the hormones can regulate the growth. If your hormones are jacked up, your hair is not going to grow. Hormones can cause hair loss or excess growth. Normal hair loss. Natural process, approximately 100,000 hairs on the head in the scalp. Light hairs as thick as brown as the neck, relatively dense. Thank you, baby. Flu, pneumonia, high fever, stress, diabetes, low thyroid, pituitary gland, tuberculosis, cancer, all cause hair loss. Wearing tight ponytails, tight braiding, extensions cause friction alopecia and can cause scarring, permanent scarring of the scalp and cause hair loss. It's not your shampoo. It's probably your extensions that are causing friction alopecia. Products that are not using resins, silicones Products that are using resins or silicones are causing buildup with hot tools. Even the toughest hair doesn't need heat over 350 degrees. The frizzy outer layer at the top is an indication of heat damage, or crinkled ends of a singed hair are indicative of heat damage as well. Chemical treated hair is more susceptible to damage. Okay, does this clarify everything for everybody? Another example, when you start to use a naturally based product and your hair gets kind of like a greasy feeling back here, again, that is the wax and silicone buildup coming off of your hair in a naturally gentle way and being deposited in the back of your scalp because it doesn't have anywhere else to go. So imagine having a mirror and putting butter on it, and you're having to wipe and wipe and wipe and wipe and wipe. The butter is the mirror, okay? Or I'm sorry, the butter is the wax and silicone, the mirror is your scalp. You have to keep washing and washing, and it will go away, okay? So if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask on this post, but your shampoo is not causing your hair loss. I promise you that.
Your shampoo is not causing your hair loss. That is something you cannot promise. You can't. Because you do not know what Monat shampoo might do to somebody's hair. Everything is responsible for your hair loss because you treat your hair badly. But it's not Monat shampoos. Just imagine that you have to live in such an environment where you have to tell yourself and your customer this, that Monat products cannot do this. That is not you being a normal salesperson. That is not you having a normal job. That is you creating an echo chamber and a belief system where everybody who has an opposing or critical opinion of what you do or the products you try to sell is a hater, is uninformed, and has to be shunned. I believe she has to react in such a way because otherwise she would recognize that she works for a really, really crappy company. Not just business model-wise, but if you work for a company and there are lawsuits going on, why would you want to defend that company till the end when it's obvious that you haven't even done your research? Monat doesn't care about her. If she does something that is wrong, they will terminate her like this. If you are a leader, it is less likely that you will get terminated, but if Monat's well-being is on the line, what do you think what Monat will do? Yes, they will terminate their quote-unquote leaders as well. And if she were honest with herself, she would have to recognize that she's working in a really, really bad business environment and that she is creating that very, very bad environment for her customers as well. I've shown you all of the information. There is more and more and more pages out there onto the internet if you want to take a look at that yourself. Hair loss and hair shedding can be caused by the products you use, and it can be caused by Monat products as well. Certain ingredients in Monat products, in Monat shampoos, might cause hair shedding and hair loss. I typically wash my hair once a week and I don't brush it throughout the week. I go through my hair, through my curls with my fingers, and I will typically brush it shortly before I wash it for the first time, and then I will carefully go through it with a wet brush in the shower because otherwise I can't go through this. I typically lose a lot of hair when I brush my hair because I only brush it once a week. I really just go through the regular comb once a week. So I will shed more hair than other people who wear their hair open, who brush their hair more often than that. But still, if you brush your hair daily, or like me, once a week, you know what amount of hair you typically lose. And if you use products, new products, Monat products, any other products, and you realize that you shed more hair than is normal for you, stop using those products and consider Monat products can be harmful to you. I'm not saying that every product is, but yes, they can have a reaction to you. You might be sensitive to certain ingredients, so be aware of that. It is not just outer causes that might cause hair loss or hair damage. Monat reps are just trying to protect their scammy business, and they're doing it in such an unprofessional way. I loved the Hun Science part of this, and I hope that I will find more Hun Science because I would like to have an entire category of Hun Science on my channel because I think that they're so funny. And this took kind of a weird turn because she is pretty much insulting her customers, but I'm still here for it. If you like Hun Science videos as well and you have access to some, let me know. I'm happy to react to these as well. I hope you did like this video. Despite the weird energy from this very entitled lady, I do hope that it was entertaining and maybe a bit informational and educational for you. If you do like these types of videos, please consider subscribing, leaving me a like and a comment down below. And if you like these videos, I do hope that I will see you soon in my next video. Tschüss!